Servus and hello. My name is Fireball313 and welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Game. A couple of weeks ago I made a video about a book, and that book called Game Boy The Box Art Collection from Bitmap Books. Maybe you guys watched this video, and at the end I had actually a straightforward opinion. From the first to the last page I love this book. I love the production value, the image quality was amazing, I loved everything about that, and I learned even some stuff, and I saw this book also as a celebration of the Game Boy period. I think maybe you guys remember also that I mentioned that I bought a second book also when I bought the Game Boy Box Art Collection. And this one is the second book, and that is Super Famicom, the Box Art Collection. And I want to make a review in this video about this one here. This is a celebration of the box arts for the Super Famicom, that is the Japanese Super Nintendo. But before we dive into this experience, I want to give some basic information. So first, this is not a paid promotion. I told you guys I never do that. I bought this from my own money, and I do this review just on my own because I like the product and I think they need some publicity, and I want to give them a platform for this. Information about the book is straightforward. You get the cost is around €36. Of course, you must pay the shipment also. This book has 276 pages, and when you purchase it through the website, you get a free PDF also. That is a nice bonus, I think. So then you have it in physical form and in digital form also. Yeah, that is about the basic information. So first, let's look at the front cover, and this is already good looking, let's say it like that, because you have this solid cover, with this golden letter types, and I like that, it's simple but effective, and that is really cool. When we turn around the book, it's actually quite big, like I said, 276 pages. You have a small introduction text, and I want to read that before we look at the book itself. It wasn't easy being a Nintendo fan in the early 80s. That's actually true. The wonderful Super Famicom was released in Europe as the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, but it was humbled by a bordered 50 Hz image and delayed release schedule. True Nintendo fans got hold of a Japanese console and bought their games on the grey import market. As well as the benefits of faster, smoother, full-screen gameplay, Japanese Super Famicom cartridges came in beautiful portraited shaped boxes, rather than the landscape packaging sold in Europe and North America. The stylish, increased Japanese design were almost always superior to those afforded the Western release. That is actually true. Soon you guys will see that. As a celebration of this unique artwork, Bitmap Books is proud to present Super Famicom, the Box Art Collection, a compilation of Japanese game packaging, professional shot and presented as a glorious hardback edition. The book features 260 titles, including many rare examples and some that have never before been documented in print. Sourced from the archives of re-owned collectors Stuart Brett, aka Super Famicom Guy. Each box is beautiful, presented life-size with an overview of the game and critics of the artwork. The book also featured several interviews with other collectors who explain their love of the format. Super Famicom, the Box Art Collection, is an unmissable treat for anyone who had a passion for a Nintendo 16-bit console and who came to embrace the distinctive Japanese artwork adorning these iconic games. Yeah, and I bought this book actually for several reasons. First, yes, I live in Europe, and Super Famicom games was completely out of my reach, I lived on the countryside, and this was before the internet. So it was really already hard to get some PAL games, you know. If I wanted to buy a game, I had to travel 60, 70 kilometers, you know, to find a decent game. Yeah, to find import games, that was almost impossible. So me and my friends, we just only had PAL games. Later, when I started to study and I moved to a bigger city, you know, and I met different people, different gamers, yeah, then that was different. I met a lot of collectors, gamers who had a Japanese Super Famicom, or they had a special adapter, you know, to play Japanese games on the European console. Yeah, so this book is actually, how to say, a history lesson for me. I mean, yes, because of the internet, I learned a lot of stuff about what we European players missed. But this book gives new insight about the Japanese market, you know, and yeah. And now, you know what, guys, let's dig into this book. Yes. So, and first, we get this. Here you can see the context and some information who are responsible for this book. And I love already this. This as a wallpaper, you know, this would be so awesome, really awesome, yes. Then we get a foreword of Steve Jarrett, and he is, let me think, the editor of this book, and also a launch editor of Total Edge and the official Nintendo magazine. And then we get an introduction test of Stuart Brett, who is the, let me think, yeah, he designed the book, actually. Wait, I hope you guys can see that. Besides that, there is some more text here, and a small introduction of Steve Orton, and he's the Italian-based illustrator, and I think these are some of his works, and that looks so cool, I think, you know. That this as wallpapers I would like to have also. Yeah. So, and then actually we start already with the box art. And before I continue, there are, I mean, this is the second time that I look at this book now, many games I even don't know myself, you know. And then actually I'm really happy that you have some explanations. Many of these titles never got released in Europe or in America. So this actually showed me a lot what we missed, you know, as Western gamers, you know, and what was quite exclusive on the Japanese market. I mean, for example, ActRaiser, yes, this game was, I think, a launch title in America, and I actually didn't play the first one, I played the second, and I think soon we see, yes, we see the artwork about that also. So yeah, many of these games have just a normal Japanese title, and these names sound, of course, very strange for us Westerners. So, for example, this one is 46 Okunen Monogatari Harukan Naru Idenhe. So my Japanese is really rusty. Unfortunately, I don't know how to pronounce that. So I hope you guys can forgive me in that case. In this case, this is a game from Inex. I don't know anything about that. You get some explanation about this. So they tell actually this game is known in the West as Evo, the Search for Eden. I never heard about this actually. And what is interesting is also they give information who illustrated the box art. So for in this case, it's illustrated by Kamui Fujiwara. And this actually is a game what was released on the NEC PC. That is interesting. Yeah, ActRaiser was, when it got released, a very intriguing game because it was partly a god simulation, partly a side-scroll beaten up, you know. Yes, and it had an awesome soundtrack. That was one of the first games who showed the potential of the sound chip of the Super Nintendo. Yes, and the box art is really nice, you know. It has already this epic feel, if you guys ask me. If we move to the next page, then we have an image of ActRacer 2, yes. And that is that's a quite interesting story about me and the game, because I didn't know what was this kind of game. I just saw these screenshots back then in a magazine, and I knew I would like to have this game. When I purchased it, I was a little bit disappointed because it was really, really hard, really hard. But the soundtrack was really incredible. And back then I was so a soundtrack fanatic that I connected the Super Nintendo to my stereo, and I recorded everything on tape, all the music. So I have a huge soundtrack collection just on tape. Yeah, awesome game compared with the first one. It's more action oriented than the first one. The first one had really this God mode also. Here is just straight action. Yes. Interesting, the next one, that is Aku Majo Dracula. And for us Westerner, this is Super Castlevania 4. And our design in the West is really, really different. And I must admit, I like this one also. This has a creepy vibe, I think. And the landscape format is really suitable in this case. The only downfall, I think, is Simon looks a little bit strange. I don't know. He looks so random, so generic, But the box art gives a good expression what you can expect, That's an action game, really, and that Dracula is your enemy, even if you can't read the text. So, by the way, Super Castlevania 4 is one of the best games on the Super Nintendo, Yeah. The one on the left is called, in the West, Castlevania Vampire's Kiss. And that is a port of the PC Engine game, what came out exclusive in Japan. And that was Aku Majo Dracula X. XX, I hope. Yeah. We call it a Rondo of Blood, by the way. An awesome game. I mean, the PC Engine version is an awesome game. The Super Nintendo version is a little bit different and not so good. But, I mean, if you like Castlevania, you can do nothing wrong. But compared with Super Castlevania 4, this is a downfall, if you ask me. And this is quite interesting. This is the cover art of Alien 3. This game came out in 1993 and was produced by Probe, and Acclaim was the publisher. Of course, this is a licensed title. I mean, in 1992, Alien 3 came in the cinemas, yeah, and this game was based on that. If you watch at the Western cover, they had this movie poster as a cover. Here they choose something different. And this is a mix of this movie cover and real life pictures. Quite funny is that you see the price of the game also. Yes. It's a standard action title. It's not bad. If you love the movie, you can do nothing wrong. But it's not a title what I would really must have, in my collection. Yeah. Then the next one on the left got released also here in Europe, and that is Alien vs. Predator. And I remember this, a friend of mine who was a huge Predator fan bought this game by coincidence, and he showed this to me. And I didn't knew that there was already some comics, of Aliens vs. Predator. So for me, this was an awesome idea that the aliens and the Predator are in the same universe. This is side-scroll beaten up, a little bit like Final Fight. You play the Predator and you beat a lot of aliens. It's a mediocre gameplay, but I like the soundtrack a lot. The cover design is different compared with the Western version, and I must admit, I like that also. It has this movie flair. Yes. This next one is Appleseed Prometheus non Shintaku, and this got, let me think, No, it never got released actually in the West. But I knew Appleseed because this is a manga anime series. I think I watched one movie, and I must say that the art design really fits with the anime style. So this gives a good impression. Yeah. The next game, actually, I don't know at all, but it looks really, yeah, I don't know. It gives a warm feeling if I look at it, you know, something like that it's some kind of game what plays in an awesome household, you know, in a kitchen or something like that. So, and it has this feel of that it's hand painted, you know. But unfortunately, I don't know anything about that. This is Area 88, and that is a game what came out in Europe, I think, also as, let me think, I must check at the text. I forgot actually the name about. The game came out also here in the West, and it was an horizontal shooter. Shit. But this game is actually based on a manga, and you can see the art style actually quite good. So it really fits. The next one, I don't know anything about that. Ashitu no Joe, but if I look at the box art, I would say this is some kind of boxing game. He called Tomorrow's Joe, and this game is based on the 1960 manga series. Yeah, I don't know anything, but the release date was 1992, and it's beaten up. Yeah. Assault Suit Falcon was a game what got released in the West also. It has a different name called Cybernator, and is that you play a mech and you move from the left to the right, you beat some enemies and you shoot. Straightforward actually, but I think in Europe it came out in 1993. Compared with the box art in the West, I like this one more. This has more this anime style, you know, and really here you see the armor suit, the mech, and that looks really awesome. Yes. And I think this image has also a lot of details. Then another game what came out here also, that is Axlay, or an awesome shooter from Konami. The box art is almost the same like here in the West. It's an awesome game, you know, with a lot of awesome technical tricks. And but it's a little bit a hidden gem, you know. There was never a follower, but at the end, I think at the end screen even they announced one, but it never materialized, unfortunately. But it's one of the best shooters on the platform. The next cover looks really interesting. Looks for me like in manga, and it called Bastard Ankoku no Hakashinin. And I think translated means a bastard god of dark destruction. And it's a one-on-one fighting game. I didn't know that. It's based on a manga, an anime series. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. The next is another title what got released also in the West, and that is Batman Returns, based of course on the movie from Tim Burton from 1993. This cover looks way awesome compared to the Western version, because it has this comic feel. In the European version, they had a picture of Michael Keaton. You know, it was a little bit more realistic. But I like this one more. It's a good licensed title, you know, a side scroll beaten up, you move from left to right and you beat everything in front of you. Yeah, has quite high difficulty, but this is just normal, standard for the genre. The next cover I really like. It has this epic Dungeon and Dragon feel. And this is what I noticed when I watched this book for the first time. Western cover design of games are Less violent and more straightforward, colder, I would say, you know, with less detail. And Japanese artworks have, yeah, because of the anime and manga background, you have so many varieties actually. And I think there the market is completely different when we talk about art style. I don't know this game, unfortunately, but the book says it's a beaten up and it came out in 1992. The next one, Battle Cross, it called, is a racing game. Yes, I can see that also. And that is a good example. You would never see something like here in Europe, because European players would immediately think this is some kind of kids game, you know. Because in Japan, cuteness is everything, you know, even for adults and even for older people. But not for us European. This is really like, oh, this must be a kids game, you know. So unfortunately, I don't know this game. And here also, this is Battle Dodgeball 2, and this is a sports game. And I think this is based on an anime series, something like that. And yeah, a European player would immediately think like, oh, this is just for small children, especially when you see these are small figures, you know. Then here we have Battle Mobile. This is a shoot 'em up driving game. I think something like Twisted Metal. Unfortunately, I don't know this also. By the way, the quality of the paper and the print is really awesome. If I didn't mention that, I do this now. Yes, this is really, really cool. It's actually like with the first book, what I bought. You know, they have the same production value here, and that is so awesome. Yes. The next game, Battle Pinball. So and that looks, yeah, cool. You know, very childish in a good way. And yeah, but I don't know this. And that is Battle Sequi then, and this is a side-scrolling beating up. Unfortunately, I have no information about this also, because it got never released in the West, you know. But this one got released in the West, and that is Biometal. And that is a quite interesting story behind that, because this is a shoot 'em up, you know, a horizontal shooter, and that was just a mediocre one. The Western version got really famous because they changed the soundtrack, and compared to the Japanese version, and when you pop up the game, you hear the music from 2 Unlimited, you know, with the songs Magic Friend and No Limits, stuff like that. And I knew even some guys who just bought this game because they loved the soundtrack so much. Yeah, it's a straightforward shooter, nothing special in this case. But the box art design is way cooler. It has this mystical feel compared with the Western version. The game on the left, actually, I don't know also, but I mean, everybody knows this is Sailor Moon, and this is Bishoujo Shenshi Sailor Moon. And this must be something like a scrolling beat 'em up. This got never released here in the West, unfortunately. The next one is interesting also. That is Black Fawn Fukushu no Kuroki Toge. We know this game actually as a Black Hawk, I think, huh? Or was it Black Fawn also? This game got created by Blizzard and got published by Interplay. It was the same genre like Flashback in Another World. Awesome title, you know. But a hidden gem also, because I mean, in the Super Nintendo period, Blizzard made some Super Nintendo games like Rock and Roll Racing, Lost Vikings, and Black Fawn. It was a cool game with a nice cover system. Yes. I think it was really Black Hawk or not. I'm not sure now about that. Doesn't matter in this case. Blazon, I didn't knew about this shooter, but I saw a video from GameSack, and he introduced that in one of his episodes left in the arcade, and he mentioned that game. I didn't knew about that, and this is a Japanese exclusive, unfortunately. Yeah. This is an awesome treat for the Japanese players who bought Super Bomberman back then, because when you bought this, you got this Golden Bomberman also, you know. I mean, yes, Super Bomberman got released in Europe also, but we just had a standard package with not this gimmick included. A real shame. But Super Bomberman was a solid title, you know, with an awesome multiplayer. Yeah, was an awesome multiplayer game, yes. This looks so cool, you know, really epic. Bounty sword. I don't know anything about that. If you guys ask me what kind of game I would expect, I would say something like a side-scroll beaten up or an RPG. And here they say it's an RPG strategy mix. Looks really cool. Yes. The next is awesome. So also, this is Brandish. This is an RPG. I don't know anything about that, but it reminds me of Record of Lodoss War. I loved the anime series back then, and the art style is a little bit the same. It's, by the way, it looks like a movie poster to me, you know, really cool. On the left, we have Bushu, how you pronounce that? Bushi Sairyuden Futari no Yoshua. And that is a tactical RPG from 1997. I don't know anything about that. Yeah, and the box design is okay. It's okay. It's a little bit strange, I think. Yeah. On the right, we see Captain Commando, a title what got never released in the West also. Yeah, you know, actually my heart hurts a lot, you know, when I see what we European player missed, you know, in the days of the Super Nintendo. Yeah, shame. Solid side-scroll beaten up. And, and the box design is really wild, you know. You have this art design, and then you have this baby in a mech and ninja. This is a mummy, and this is a guy from the future, you know, like some kind of time cop. Yeah, this kind of art design you would never see in the West, unfortunately. This would be a game what I would buy on day one, you know, Carvin Shooting Collection. This is made by Hudson, and it's a shoot 'em up collection, I think. This is 3 games, I think, on one cartridge. Yes, Star Force, Star Soldier, and Hector 87. Unfortunately, this got never released here. The next one, yeah, we saw this here also. That is Shoplifter 3, and the European version, I mean, the cover of the European version is so neutral, so bland, so boring compared with this one. This looks so awesome, so epic. Really, you see the danger, you see the need to save the people. This is, yeah, this gives a good impression what you can expect from the game. Awesome. Yeah. I think if you are a gamer, you know this title. That is Chrono Trigger from Squaresoft. And this is an awesome JRPG. Got never released here in the West, unfortunately. The first time I had the chance to play this was on the Nintendo DS. Yes. And then it was Chrono Trigger DS, something called like that. Yeah, and here. This box design looks really cool. Very anime-like. Yeah. And I think I don't need to mention how important this game was back when it got released. The next box art is interesting. Yes, interesting. This is a Sho Aniki Bakuretsu Ranto Hen. And this is a beat 'em up. I think the Sho Aniki series is famous for some shooting games, even on the PlayStation, something like that. That you have a half-naked muscle guy, and he shoots, I don't know, something out of his head, stuff like that. I think I saw a video about that. Yeah, but if I see this artwork, I couldn't tell what kind of game this would be. Yeah. The next is a Macross title. I don't want to pronounce that. I just call it Macross Scrambled Valkyrie. And this is a shoot 'em up, yes. And this is based on the anime manga series, what was really popular and is still popular in Japan. Macross was not a huge thing in Germany, but in France and in England, it was more popular. Then, how I could pronounce that? Shomaikamaru. Yes, that is Super Ghost and Goals. Yeah, Super Ghost and Golds and Ghost. Yes, this was one launch title in the West. Awesome game. The box design is more detailed, more funny compared to the Western version. Yes, looks really cool. Here's Firebrand, also the main protagonist of the Gargoyle Quest series, by the way. Clock Tower, I heard a lot about this game. This is, some people say this is the predecessor of the Resident Evil series. And it even says the genre is survival horror. I saw some pictures. I never played it, unfortunately, but the art design is really cool. Looks awesome. Could be a movie poster also. Look who we got here. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know. That is Contra Spirit. For us Westerner, it's Contra 3, the Alien Wars. For us European, it is Super Protector. And for us European, because I mean, the Japanese and the Western version, you had some military guys, you know, some Rambo guys, and this was for us European to violent, so Konami was forced to change the main protagonist into robots. So I was grown up with Probotector and not with Contra. My first, and actually every gamer who I knew thought these are robots everywhere. In Japan, in America, doesn't matter. No, actually, when the first Contra game came out on the PlayStation, and that was Legacy of War, that one was then the original one, like in America. And then we knew, this is different, you know. So, but I must admit, I like the robots more than the human protagonists. I think because I got used to that. Then the next image is Cosmopolis Caliban 2 Arrow of Justice. Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but it looks for me like an anime or a manga, something like that. Yeah. And on the right is Krahun Shinchan. And this is, I know this guy actually. This is, I think, an anime or manga or something like that. I never read it, but I know the image. Yeah. Unfortunately, I never played this game, so I don't know. I have no clue what that is. Yeah. I know a little bit about this next one. This is Cyborg 009. Because I'm a huge fan of GameSack, and Left in the Arcade episode, he talked about this game also. That you had this is based on an anime manga, and you have all these special agents, and every agent has a specialty. You know, one has a super shot, the other one can run faster, the other one is stronger, stuff like that. It's a platform game. It's straightforward. Looks really nice. Yes. Then a title what I really would like to have, you know, back then, and that is Darius Force. I like the art design actually, because with Darius you have a lot of alien creatures who look like fishes, stuff like that. And this gives a good impression. I think this is one of the end bosses, something like that. This game unfortunately got never released here in Europe. A shame. But this one I played. We didn't got so much Darius games in the West. This one was an exclusive for the Super Nintendo, I think, yes. And that was quite a good title. It was not too easy, not too hard. It has a two-player function, and that was really awesome. So you could play together with a buddy if you had one, and a second controller, of course. Yeah, I like the box design way more than the Western version, yes. Then, the next is Dark Half. I don't know anything about that, but look at the box art. That is so cool. It reminds me of Conan the Barbarian. I don't know why. Yeah, very epic, very gritty, I think. Then, oh yeah, yes, this game, oh, Dead Dance, oh, I remember when I was a journalist, I wrote a review about Dead Dance because my boss asked me, he had this game in his collection and he borrowed this one to me, and he said it's some kind of Street Fighter clone, and yeah. So I played this. Later I figured out that there was even a Western version that had an even stupid name, because Dead Dance is a stupid name for a fighting game. But we know this game as Tough Enough, and the box art is so stupid. I mean, the European box art is so stupid. You must, guys, check this on the internet. This is more serious, more awesome compared with the Western version. Yes. On the right side, that is one of the best titles on the Super Nintendo. That is Demon's Crest. They know this game in Japan as Demon's Blazon Makamaru Monshu Hen. Yeah. This is Firebrand. He is one of the protagonists from Ghosts and Goblins, and there's the main hero. The first game came out back then on the Game Boy. That was Gargoyle's Quest. Then later on the NES was Gargoyle's Quest 2, and Demon's Crest was the third game. Awesome title with a perfect soundtrack. The soundtrack was so awesome, you know. I still have this one on tape. Yeah, I recommend that. And the box art compared with the Western version, this one is more threatening, more serious, you know, more awesome. Yeah. The next on the left, the Desamon, I think. This is a shooting up. I don't know anything about that. No, actually it's not a shooting up. Yes, I remember. This is a game creation program for the Super Nintendo. With this game, you could design your own shoot 'em up if you want. This would be so cool if that would be released in the West, you know, because I'm a huge fan of shoot 'em ups. But I mean, here in Germany especially, there was not a huge market for that. But I think if they would release that here back then, I would bought this immediately, and I would design a lot of shooter, you know, because I was crazy about these games. Yeah. Disney's Aladdin. We say here in Germany Aladdin. Yeah, is actually a Western game, what got released in Japan also. The box design here in the West is, I think, the movie poster. I don't like this one because this perspective is a little bit strange. And it gives the impression that you always stay on that thing, because this is actually a side-scroll jump and run. And yes, sometimes you fly with this carpet, but not most of the time. So yeah. On the left is one game what we never saw here, and that is Donald Duck no Maho no Boshi. And I think this was created by Capcom? No, actually not. That is funny, because for a couple of years Capcom had the license of Disney, like Chip and Dale and Mickey Mouse, stuff like that. Strange. On the right, yeah. I think I don't need to explain what kind of game that is. That is Doom for the Super Nintendo. That never came out here in Germany because it's forbidden, because this was a first-person shooter and this was too violent, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, stuff like that. This art design is almost similar to the Western version. Yeah, looks still cool. I mean, if you see the Marine and you see the name, then you know what kind of game you can expect, you know, because Doom is an all-time classic. Everybody knows that. The next two games, what you guys can see here, got never released in the West, unfortunately. But of course, I know Dragon Ball, very, very popular even in Germany back then. But these both games never got released. But I like the art design of this one. This gives me an impression, actually, that it's not a platformer, but more a music game. Yeah. And this is a real bummer, you know. These are Dragon Quest 1 and 2 and 3. These games never got released on the Super Nintendo. We didn't even knew about Dragon Quest. We knew Final Fantasy. But yeah, later I figure out how big Dragon Quest actually is. I mean, when we talk about popularity in Japan. And yeah, these games actually never came out in Europe. What a shame. And what I like is they continue the art design. They continue this art design about the logos, the way how they presented the hero and the images. Yeah, it's a little bit like with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy have this continuous look through the series. I think soon we see that also. Yeah, then you see Dragon Quest 5 and Dragon Quest 6. I think I don't need to mention we never saw these games. Yeah, then what we have here, Edo no Kiba, and this is a scrolling beat 'em up. Looks for me that it's based on an anime, something like that. Looks really interesting. Yeah, that one looks a little bit like Ghosts and Goals, I think, something like this, or like Maximo. This is a game for the PlayStation 2. This calls Elfaria, a fantastic theater. This is an RPG. Never came out here, unfortunately. Yeah, but what came out in the West is F-Zero, the original F-Zero. And the packaging design is almost the same like the Western version, but I like it more. I mean, this shape really fits more. Yeah, awesome game, really awesome game. I always hoped to see a second part on the Super Nintendo, you know, because the first one really impressed me with the smooth graphics and the awesome soundtrack. Yeah, unfortunately, we had really we a European player had to wait a long time to see a second part. Here we have Feda, the Emblem of Justice. This is an RPG, what we never saw here in the West, but the package design looks cool, looks very dark fantasy, a little bit like Kona. Yeah, but the logo design reminds me of Zelda, if you guys ask my opinion about that. Then, a game what I know, what got never released in the West, was Fighter's History, a Street Fighter clone from Data East. Yeah, a typical beat-em-up game, nothing special about that. I mean, if you know Street Fighter, then it's quite easy, you know, to know the game mechanics. Yeah, and this one I don't need to introduce to anybody. That is Final Fantasy IV. And this is what I mean, the cover design for the Super Nintendo, I mean the cover design for Final Fantasy was a continuous thing, you know, with the choosing of the fonts, the art design, the way how they presented the game on the package. And you guys can see it here. It looks quite similar, this and this, yeah. That looks really cool. But if I must choose the best of these three covers, I always go for Final Fantasy VI. This has this gritty, dark fantasy feel, yeah. That is a game what got never released here also. I mean, yeah, way later, but not on the Super Nintendo, unfortunately. Then, Final Fight. Yeah, what can I say about that? Actually, the art design looks way cooler than the Western version. Here also with the second part soon. In this version, Guy is missing because I think of memory restriction. Real shame, unfortunately. Final Fight 2. Yeah, awesome art design, I think. And I was happy to see that we had this game in the West also. Yeah, and here this is quite funny because the first Final Fight Guy was missing. Later they released Final Fight Guy, and then they deleted Cody and included Guy, and that was stupid also, you know. It's a real shame. Later they released Final Fight CD for the Mega CD, and this game, this version of Final Fight had all the characters included, you know. Yeah. First Samurai has a very interesting art design, very spacey, very futuristic, with an Asian feel. I think this was a title on the Amiga, Atari ST. I heard about that, but I never played it. Yeah. That next one, the next game is a title what I already presented in one of my videos. That is the original Flashback for the Super Nintendo. This is, the cover design is based on the Western version. It's nothing different in this case. Yeah, awesome game, by the way. Here, another title from Square Enix, that is Front Mission. And you guys can see the influence of Final Fantasy because of the design. And this is a turn-based strategy title with mechs. I heard a lot about that. There was a remake on the Switch. I made a video about that. That was my first time that I was able to play Front Mission. Yes. Another title what we never saw is Front Mission Gun Hazard. Looks cool also, really, yes. Like an anime movie, something like that. And this is a platform combat game. Okay, I didn't know that. This is awesome. This is Funaki Masakatsu Hybrid Wrestler. This guy reminds me, I mean, if I watch this, I would not say this is a wrestling game. This could be a Street Fighter clone, something like that here, or maybe Mortal Kombat, because he reminds me of Liu Kang. Yeah, very, very cool design with the colors also. Was this Gamera? Okay, I don't know this one, but I think it's based on some kind of monster movie in Japan. This I know. This is Gamon, I think is his name, and we know this game as The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. Yes, I never played this, even the Western version, but I heard a lot of good stuff about that. Yeah. The box design looks very childish, and I don't mean this in a bad way, actually in a good way. Then the next is Fatal Fury Special. Yes, we saw this even here in the West. And they call it in Japan Garu Denetsu Special. Yeah, I mean, this is a port of the Neo Geo version. Yeah, mediocre fighting game. The next, how to pronounce that? I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know this game. It's an RPG, and it's based on, I think, an anime, something like that. But I like it. Looks really cool. What is this? Okay, interesting. This looks like from an episode of an anime, something like that. No, unfortunately, I don't know this. And this one, I don't know also. Genocide 2. Okay, Genocide 2 is a sequel to the side-scrolling beat-em-up released for the Sharp X. Okay, TurboGrafx CD MFN Town Smarty. Yeah, cool. I like that design. Reminds me of Cybernator. What we have here, Ghost Chaser, Densai, and scrolling beaten up game. I don't know this also, unfortunately. Yeah, and the next game what we don't have, Ghost Sweeper Mikami, is based on a horror comedy manga and an animated series. Interesting. The guy looks really ridiculous. Ooh. Yeah, of course, this is Godzilla. I mean, I know him. I watched some movies. You know, there are some. I mean, the Godzilla movies are not so popular like in Japan, but sometimes they run even on German television. Yeah, so I never played this game, unfortunately. This one I don't know. Also, it looks like a beaten up, and it's a beaten up actually. I don't know how to pronounce that. Hey, this game got even released in the West, and in the West it called Power Instinct. What the fuck? I don't know about that. This is a creepy one. Yeah, that one is Parodius, yeah, and this is Gokujo Parodius. And this is now, I think Konami released, I think, 3 or 4 Parodius games, and we Westerner only got one version. I don't know if this is this one. Let me see. No, I don't think so. This looks cool. Looks for me like a strategy game, but this is a platform combat game. An action platformer which draws inspiration with Konami's Akumu Dracula. Okay. Oh yeah. This one I know. This is Gradius 3. This is the same box art like what we have in the West. Awesome title. Of course, it has some slowdowns, but yeah, but I think the box design is really iconic. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Gradius series. Yeah, Gunforce. I'm not sure about that. I think Gunforce even came out in the West. This is funny. This game plays in the year 2000. Oh, the planet Earth is plunged into darkness following an alien military attack. Ooh. Luckily, we are in 2024. Yeah, I think this is a platform combat game, something like that. Yeah. Oh yes, this came out here in the West. Now I remember. Hoo. I can tell you guys, this cover would be never released here in the West. It's too much skin, what you see here, you know. And this is a little bit strange also, you know. You have these kind of characters, look like a beat 'em up, but then there's a lot of food here. A lot of food. And then this font design is strange. Wow, that is really, yeah, crazy, a little bit bizarre. And even they say this comedy-themed fighter features bizarre characters, move and poses. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that we never saw this game. Hagan, I think I must pronounce that. I know the box art looks really cool, has this old Japanese flavor, I think. But I never played it, unfortunately. The next one is quite funny. This is, I think, a sports game of a certain character, what is maybe popular in Japan. I'm not sure about that. I don't know this, but that looks really interesting. If I would be in a store and I would see this cover be next to other games, I would definitely go for this one because of the color scheme and the art design. I think this is, yeah, this is Hakuto no Ken. We know this as Fist as the North of the North Star. This is a game, unfortunately, what never came out in the West. So I don't know anything about that. Holy Striker, yeah, that looks like a side-scroll beaten up to me. Never heard about that. And I even don't know the company behind that, Hector Playing Interface. But has a nice art design. Only maybe the fonts is a little bit strange. They could choose a little bit more epic, you know. Yeah, Kirby's Dream Land 3, of course, got released here in the West also. From the early beginning, I mean, when Kirby got released on the Game Boy, it was in Europe a huge success, and so we saw, of course, the second part on the NES and this one also. Yeah, awesome game, cool art design, and I love Kirby. Yes, I think everybody loves Kirby. That is a cool art design also. This gives this impression that it's wood and that it's burned, something like that, this image. This is Kirby Super Deluxe, featuring 7 separate Kirby games and 2 mini games. Yes, I think we got this also in the West. I like that. And like I said, Kirby looks so cute, you know, awesome character. This is awesome. Looks like an anime, or yes, an anime series, loosely based on an anime series. Hyper Area. Never heard about that. Yes. The next, Hyper Zone. I think I heard about that. It's a shooter. Yeah, it's a shooting up. This reminds me of pre-rendered graphics from the early 90s, like Lawnmower Man, something like that. Or maybe a cover from the Amiga from the early 90s. This is interesting. What is this? E Hatovu story is based on one of the most widely read literature figures in Japan, poet and children author Miyazawa Kenji. I don't know him. Looks intriguing, I must admit. Yeah, we never saw this, of course. This looks for me like a Contra game, something like this. What is it? A top-down scrolling shooter. Ikari no Hosai. Never came out here, unfortunately. Yeah. Here. A hero from my childhood. Indiana Jones. This game got created by a German company called Factor 5. And this is Indiana Jones' greatest adventure. And they even say this is made by Factor 5. Really, really hard side-scroll, platform action game. Yeah, but it has a nice twist. All the free movies are included here in this game. Yeah, had an awesome soundtrack. Iron Commando. Do I know this one? The action in Iron Commando Steel Warrior kicks off with a meteor strike on Earth. Okay, interesting. No, I don't know this, unfortunately. Jackie Crush. That reminds me of Alien Crush and Devil's Crush. This is a pinball game from the PC Engine. And yeah, and this is... Oh wait, this is the third outing from the pinball series by Naxta with Devil's Crush and Alien Crush. Yeah, hey, I didn't know that it got released on the Super Nintendo. Interesting. But this kind of demon head you would never see on a package in the 90s in Germany, because this is too religious, you know. What is this? This is another Parodius, and I heard about that. That is Chatting Parodius. Unfortunately, this game got never released here also, and this is quite famous that you have an announcer who talks all the time. Yes, I heard a lot about that. I would love to play this in the future. And this is a baseball game, yeah. And I guys can tell you immediately, because baseball was in the 90s. Not really popular in Germany. Germany is a football land through and through. So yeah. But it is made by Konami. I didn't know that. Woohoo! I know both of these games. Here in the West, they're called International Superstar Soccer. Yeah, soccer games made by Konami. Like I said already, I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I like the art design. You know, normally covers of soccer games are so serious, you know, with realistic images. But this has this impression of hand painted. Yeah, looks cool. Huh? I like. What we have here, oh, Justice League Task Force. Oh man, yeah, I can tell a story about that. I made a review about that, you know, back then, and this is more or less a Street Fighter clone, you know. On top, there is a DC license, so you choose one of the main heroes, and then you must fight the other heroes because Darkseid is attacking the planet, and he changed all the superheroes into supervillains, and then you must fight them. Mediocre, beat them up, yeah. And what I always thought is Superman looks on this cover really ridiculous, really ridiculous. Yeah, not really a so good title, I must admit. Kabuki Rocks, I don't know that one. What is this? This is an RPG. If I look at that, I would say this is some kind of fundraiser, maybe an action platformer, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, Kamen Rider, I know the name, I know the character, but I never played the games. I mean, this series is not really popular here in the West. So what we have here, Cats Run. This is a racing game. Looks interesting. It has, I don't know, because of this color scheme and the characters, I would say this is a racing dating sim, something like that. And here we have a fishing game. This is a cute artwork, I must admit. Yeah, fishing, virtual fishing games are a big thing in Japan. Here in the West, not so much. People love to do this in real life. My father, for example, is a huge fan of fishing, and I even try him to convince to play a video game about that, but he denied that, unfortunately. He loves Wii Sports more. This is interesting. This is Keeper. I don't know this. This is a puzzle game, but I like the art design. This is a wallpaper. I would have to have it in my room. This I don't know. Looks like some kind of simulation. Interesting. What else we have here? This is Gundam, and this is Gundam also. Oh, wait. No, this is not Gundam. This is a different game, but it really looks like Gundam. Okay. This is known as Imperium on the Super Nintendo. I don't know this one. Interesting. What we have here? Oh, yeah, I know this. This is Pocky and Rocky. Nikki Kakai, yes. Awesome shooter, actually, with a Japanese flavor. Yeah, really, really hard, but very, very awesome, yeah. King of Dragons, I know also. I saw one time the arcade version, never played the Super Nintendo port. Unfortunately, this never got released here in the West, like most of these games. What else we have? Oh, yeah, King of the Monsters. These are both are ports of the Neo Geo versions. Yeah, interesting art design. Yeah, I played the first one on the Super Nintendo. I like the idea, you know, that you choose, that you fight as big monsters in the city and you destroy everything and all the people are scared and run away, and you can grab a train or cars and you throw it at your enemy. That is really cool. I would like to have a remake, you know, on modern platforms. Yeah. I don't know this one, but this one I know. This is this came even out here in the West. We call it, let me see, Kirby's Dream Course. Yes, this is some kind of golf simulation with Kirby as the main protagonist. One of my friends had this in his collection. I liked it a lot, you know, and it really fits with Kirby and the whole theme. Zenki. Oh, interesting. I don't know that. Awesome art design here, really. Yes, straight in the face. This would be too violent for Germany back in the 90s. And Oni, I don't know also. Looks really awesome. Yes. It's made by Ben Presto. Knights of the Round. Yes, I know that one. It's an arcade port from Capcom. Never came out here, unfortunately. And what is this? This guy looks like Damsin from Street Fighter. Okay. What we have here? Lady Stalker Challenge from the Past. Interesting. If I watch at this image, I would not say that it is an RPG. I would more say that is, I don't know, a fantasy action title, something like that. And check this out. When I look at this image, I have really a Final Fantasy feel in my heart. I don't know why. This is Lenno's Memory of the Ancient Machine. Was released in the West under the name Paladin's Quest. I don't know this one. Looks really awesome. Later I must check this on the internet. Yeah, Lethal Enforcer. Woohoo! This is the port of the arcade game. The arcade game never came out here in the West, I mean in Europe, and this port also, because this is too violent for us, you know. And the government must protect us, European, you know, because, yeah, shooting with a gun is never good. I think I know this, but I forgot the name, actually. Magic Sword. This is another port of an Capcom arcade game. Yes, never came out here also. And that looks like Castlevania to me, more or less. Of course, this is a different game, but it has this feel of Castlevania. Very dark, very gritty. Yeah. Cool. Could be a horror movie poster also. Mario and Wario. Yes, this is a title. This is a puzzle platform game that was developed by Game Freak, the makers of Pokemon. We never saw this in the West. Yes, and I saw a video, I think by GameSack, and here you can use the mouse even. Cover design is straightforward, nice, yeah. And instead we got Mario Picross, or Picross Mario, I think it's called here in the West. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm too stupid. I have really a problem with the Picross games. I mean, you had them on the Game Boy. I really don't understand them. I'm too stupid for that, I think. Ooh, yeah, Mario Paint. Unfortunately, I can't show you guys now the Western version, because the Western version is way more serious and way different than this one. I like this one way more. This is still on my list, you know, as a must-have, because it's really hard to find a complete package, you know, with the mouse and the game and the box, stuff like that. Oh yeah, Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems. That looks really awesome, really cool. I would like to have this as a poster. What is this? Okay, I don't know this one. But just because of the box design, I recognize this immediately. This is Magical Quest 3 or Magical Adventure 3. We saw the first one here in Europe. The second and the third never came out, unfortunately. And this is what I mean. I thought Capcom had the Disney license for a long time, you know. Yes. Here, this is Magical Quest or Magical Adventure 2. And this is the only Magical Adventure what we had. And this is the same artwork, just, of course, a different font. But it's the same artwork what we had also. Awesome game. Really awesome game. I love the graphics, the whole atmosphere. Really recommend it. Oh yeah, and this is so iconic. I mean, I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan, especially with the older version of Mortal Kombat, but this looks so epic, so cool. You don't need a lot of stuff, you know, because you just have the image of this dragon, just the name Mortal Kombat, and everybody knows what it is, and it looks so cool, you know, so epic. And here, even in the second part with the lightning in the back, this has, ooh, yeah, I like that. Even I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan. But I think I mentioned this just a second ago, huh? Right? Yeah, and this is art design in a strange way, because for me, I don't know why, I would place the Mother 2, I would place it in the middle. I don't know why they choose this just on top and they leave just empty space between that, you know. It's a little bit strange. If I look at it like that, it looks like a VHS tape for me, something like that. But this is Mother 2. We know this as Earthbound in the West. Never played it before, unfortunately. But I heard a lot of stuff. Let's enjoy cooking with Moto Ko-chan in Wonder Kitchen. Okay, is this a cooking game? A puzzle cooking game. Interesting. Oops. Oh, yeah. This is a quite ridiculous name. It's one of my all-time favorite on the Super Nintendo. We know this game under the name Saturday Night Slam Master. In Japan, it's called Muscle Bomber: The Body Explosion. Awesome wrestling game with Mike Hager from the Final Fight series. Yeah, and the art design is really awesome, straight in the face, like it should be for a wrestling game. NBA Jam, yeah. There's nothing extraordinary about the design. It's straightforward, you know, an awesome game, of course, and it's the same image like what we had in the West. So yeah, if you love basketball, you know, and you have some friends in a multi-tap, you can do nothing wrong in this case. Then, whoa, this looks like Castlevania to me also. Nosferatu. This is a platform combat game. Cool, that looks really cool. Awesome. And what is this? Osu Karate Bu. I think this is the main villain. I don't know. Never heard about that. Then Outer World. Yes, this is we know this game called Out of This World, I think. Yes, and this is the same image even in the West. This is made by Delphine Software. It's an awesome title. I never played it on the Super Nintendo, I must admit. And this is the first Parodius, what we saw even in the West. Yes. And of course, our cover design is more serious, you know, because Parodius is actually a shoot 'em up and comedy game, you know, and they give really this impression here. And on the Western box art, you really lose that feel, unfortunately. Whoa, yeah, Phalanx. Yeah, the Western version of Phalanx is, I mean, the cover design of the Western version is really so crazy. You see an old guy who's sitting on a bench with a guitar, and there's a spaceship in the background. You know, that is so ridiculous. Just because of the box design, many people really bought this game, and they got really surprised because they expected, I don't know, a farming game, something like that, and it is a shooter. It's an ordinary shooter, unfortunately. Nothing special about that. But I like the Japanese version. I mean, the art design of the Japanese version. This is straightforward. Yeah, and this is so cool. I didn't know about this box art. This is the Japanese version of Pilot Wings. Looks awesome. This image gives already the impression of the feel for fly, you know, the feeling of flying. Sorry, I have to say it like that. Yeah, cool. Looks so nice. Then, Pinocchio. I don't know if we had this in the West. But it's nice art design. Very Disney-like. Of course, it's Disney, yes. And that is Poppin' Twinbee, yes, right. Another shooter series by Konami. Is an offspring, I think, of Parodius. Popeye. Okay, interesting. Wow, this is the cover design of Prince of Persia. Woohoo! This is way much better than the version what we had. Cool. This gives even more a flavor that it's more like Castlevania. Because it has this, I don't know, the art design is very Has a horror theme, I think. Cool. I like. This looks nice. Psycho Dream. I don't know about that. Looks like some kind of music game to me, but no, it's a platform game. Oh yeah, and here one of the greatest on the Super Nintendo, R-Type 3, the Third Lightning. Yeah, this looks really cool. This is the R9, of course. Yeah, if I would choose this version or the Western version, I would go with this one. And this is Raiden Densetsu. Yes. I think, no, we never saw this in the West, unfortunately. It's another series what I really, really like. I made some long plays about the Raiden series. Raiden 3 and 4, I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is one of the most expensive games on the Super Nintendo. This is Rendering Ranger R2. This is a game what got created by just one person, by Manfred Trenz, and he's the genius behind the Turrican series. Yeah, so and they even say a Japanese exclusive which had apparently limited to just 5,000 copies. And it has since become a high sought-after collection item. Yeah, so if you want to have this, you must really pay a lot. But I heard a lot of good things about that. And if you want to play it, you can play it with the help of an emulator. This is the Japanese version of Super Double Dragon. I didn't know back then that it called the Return of the Double Dragon. Sleeping Dragon has awoke. Okay. Awesome, was still an awesome title when it got released. Of course, when you compare it with Final Fight, it was less attractive, let's say it like that. But I like the gameplay. Woohoo, Mega Man. Yes, of course, I know Mega Man. I mean, yes, in Japan it's called Rockman. We in the West know him as Mega Man. Mega Man 7 was an awesome game. Yes, has a high value collector. Is a high value collector item. Rockman and Forte, yeah, never came out here in the West, unfortunately. Oh yeah, this was my first Mega Man game on the Super Nintendo, Mega Man X. That was an awesome title with a new timeline, and storyline was a little bit different. Main protagonist was different. It was not Dr. Wily anymore. It was now, what was his name called? Sigma. Yes, yes. And Zero appeared for the first time in the series. Yeah, and that is Rockman X2. I love the art design of the Rockman games, yeah, compared to the West. And here we have Rockman X3. What is this? I don't know this one. This is an adventure beaten up. Looks interesting. It reminds me a little bit Fist of the North Star. Yeah, and here you can immediately see this is a Squaresoft game. You know, it has this this Final Fantasy vibe all over the place. Nice. Never heard about that. And what is this? Rushing Beat Run. This is a fighting, scrolling beat-em-up game. Yes. But serious, guys, look at him here. He looks like Bison from the Street Fighter series, don't you think? And he reminds me of the Art of Fighting series. Then here, the Super Nintendo port of Art of Fighting. Yeah, I think it's the same even as the Neo Geo cover. Yes, it says the Super Famicom boxes uses the original Neo Geo art for its cover. Oh, okay. Samurai Spirits, really an awesome port on the Super Nintendo. Of course, the graphics are smaller, but everything is included in this game. Really plays awesome. If you don't have a Neo Geo, you can always go with this version. And what is this? Oh, this is Romance of the Three Kingdom. Interesting. Looks very epic, huh? Don't you think, guys? This I don't know. Oh yeah, Seiken Detsu 2. We know this as Secret of Mana. And this is the same art style what we have. Just we had a different box in this case. Looks so cool. was an awesome game on the Super Nintendo with incredible soundtrack. Yes. Oh yeah, and that is so cool. I didn't knew that they included this here. This is Shadowrun. This game alone made me really crazy. I mean, when this game got released in the West, I didn't knew anything about Shadowrun, that you have books about that, and that it's a table game, stuff like that. And then a friend of mine had this game, and I borrowed it, and I fell in love with the storyline, with the gameplay, with everything, with the whole atmosphere. And then I started to read the novels about that, and I like the design of Shadowrun, you know, so epic, you know, with the skull and the font type, and this looks really incredible. Yeah. Awesome title. I don't know this one. This is Gundam. Shin Megami's Tensei. I think this is the first one on the Super Nintendo. Yeah, and that is SimCity that we had also in the West. And this is the cover of the PC version, I believe. We had a different one. Yeah. I never played it. I played it back on the Amiga. I'm not a huge SimCity fan. Oh, this looks awesome. Snoopy concert. This could be a cover of an anime or something. Nice. I don't know this one. Sonic Blast Man. He reminds me of Pepsi Man, you know, on the PlayStation. And then Sonic Blast Man 2, really crazy smile. Pepsi Man. Oh yeah, shit, no, I have that in my head. Sonic Wings, yes, straightforward shooter. Came never here in the West, unfortunately. That looks nice. I remember the first part was on the NES. Yes, it's the sequel, they even say this. Cool. This reminds me of Gundam also. Never heard about the title. The same here also. Stardust Suplex. I think this is a wrestling game. Interesting. Oh yeah, Star Fox. Yeah, what can I say about this game? You know, it was created by Argonaut. Nintendo was the publisher. We know this in the West as Starwing. Yeah, awesome title, very, very important. Was the first game with the Super FX chip. Yeah, all-time classic till now. Yes. This game I don't know, but I think the name is game Stealth. So I think it's a stealth game, something like that. And here the iconic cover of Street Fighter 2. The Western version looks a little bit different. And I think this is even the cover, I mean, the art design from the original arcade version. Yeah, and they continued the style with the turbo variation. I bought this one also, yes, on the Super Nintendo. Awesome game. And Street Fighter 02, yes. Looks cool also. Very threatening, you know, Akuma, woohoo. Oh, Super Aleste, yes. That was an awesome shoot 'em up by Compile. This looks really, really awesome. Our art design, unfortunately, is way different. Oh, this is Super Back to the Future Part 2. Yeah, I heard about that actually. That is a platform game that you're Amati on the hoverboard and you can fly around, do stuff like that. We never saw that. And this is quite interesting because this is a Western property. Strange. Yeah. Super Bomberman. Yes, we had this also. And that is Donkey Kong Country. In Japan, it's called Super Donkey Kong. Funny. I think, I don't remember how the Western version looked like, but I think a little bit different. But I must admit, when I bought this one, I felt really in love. Not because of the graphic, but because of the game design, you know. You really saw that Rare put a lot of love in this game, you know. Yeah, but the second part was not so good, if you ask me. Yeah, and I never played the third one. Oh yeah, Super EDF, Earth Defense Force. This was a shoot 'em up, I think. Yeah, was not so spectacular when it came out. This looks awesome. I don't know this one. Super Fire Pro Wrestling X. Yeah, the Fire Pro series is not very popular here in the West. I played one version on the PlayStation 4. And that is Bonk. Yes, Super Genji. Unfortunately, we never saw this here in the West. Also on the Super Nintendo. Super Godzilla. Interesting. Oh yeah, I know this one. This is Chase HQ, I think it called in the West. Let me see. Yeah, Chase HQ. Super Chase HQ. So yeah, cool art design. And here on the left, the box art of Super Mario Collection, or aka Super Mario All-Stars. I must admit, I like the art design of the Western version a little bit more. This is, I don't know, it has, if you ask me, too much colors, you know, especially here. Yeah, and that is a game what I really always wanted to play. I remember one of the German magazines gave information about Super Mario RPG and how awesome it is. Of course, it never got released in the West. But lately, I mean, I think a couple of months ago, I played this on the Switch. I mean, the remake. Awesome game, yes. And here, woohoo, Super Mario World. Quite interesting. It has the title Super Mario Bros. 4 also here in the Japanese version. We don't have this in the West, but it's the same art design also. But by the way, awesome jump and run. Can do nothing wrong about that. And here, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Completely different cover design. And Yoshi has a different name here. Yossi. Interesting. Super Mario Kart, all-time classic. Yes, same art design like we have. Interesting. Yeah, and Super Metroid. That was a cool game. Oh yeah, super art type. That is interesting. The box design of the Western version was really straightforward. You could, when you saw the box design, you knew this is a shooter. Here, this could be anything. If you guys ask me, it looks like a horror game. I don't know, like a run and gun, something like that. Oh, interesting. Super Star Wars. This, I think, is one of the movie posters. Yeah, this is one of the movie posters also. It's interesting to see it in Japanese. Yeah, but I played all of these games. Really, yeah, straightforward, actually, platform titles. Yeah, and here, Super Street Fighter 2, The New Challengers. Looks nice. But I think it's the same artwork than Street Fighter 2, the animation movie. I have this one in my collection. I mean, the anime. Oh yeah, Super Tetris 2 and 3. Straightforward. Super Turrican. That's a game what was made by Factor 5. And the box design here in the West is totally different story. This is fascinating to see. By the way, an awesome series. Yeah, Super Valles, I know the name, never played it before. Reminds me of Strider. Oh. And that is Taekwondo. I practiced Taekwondo for a couple of years when I was a little bit younger. I think this game would be interesting if it would be released in Germany. And And what is this? I don't know this one. Ah, yeah, Tales of Fantasia. Yeah, awesome game. I heard a lot about that. Never played it on the Super Nintendo. Joe and Mac, yeah. And this is the Japanese version of Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles Tournament Fighters. And in Japan it calls Teenage Mutant Ninja because Ninja was too aggressive for us in the West. So they changed it to Heroes. And the game called Mutant Warriors. So it's a Street Fighter clone. You choose one of the protagonists and then you fight each other. Yeah, one of my friends had this game. He was a huge Turtle fan. And this is Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Tetris Flash, okay, interesting. And that is Astro Boy, yes. I never actually read a manga of him. This looks cool. The Amazing Spider-Man, Lethal Foes. Looks like straight like a comic. Awesome. And what is this? The Combatants. Never heard about that. Oh, this is a hidden gem, actually. This came out in the West also, the Fireman. It's there you play the role of the fireman, and you are in a skyscraper or something like that, and there's a huge fire, and you must do everything, you know, to rescue people. Awesome game, and the fire is your main enemy in this case. You know, so you have a water hose and you must spray water. You can change the water hose, you know, that you have this different spray, you know, over the place, stuff like that. So yeah, and that is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Looks so strange for me as a Westerner. Thunder Spirits. I think this is. No, Thunder Spirits. This is not a game that came out on the, yes, this is Thunder Force 3, yes, for the Mega Drive. Interesting. I never heard about that. Vortex. Is this Super FX game? Wow, this is so strange. This is a completely different artwork compared what we have here in the West. In the West you see some kind of computer graphics, you know, like with the Super FX chips, you know, on the front cover, that's it. You see the robot in this style, not like that. This is so cool. Yeah, Wild Guns. Never played it, but I heard a lot of about that. That looks like Gundam to me, but I think it's a different game. And this is Mario and Yoshi, I think it called. It's a puzzle game, yeah, by Bulletproof Software. I mean, serious guys, if you look at the cover, you would say this is some kind of baking simulation, something like that. Yeah, this is a game that never really got released here. That was Yoshi Safari Hunt, something like that. And that was a game what was compatible with the Super Scope. This didn't got released also here in Germany because, hey, this is a fucking bazooka. This is violent. This is dangerous. You know, you can hurt people with that. Yeah. Oh, and that's it, actually. Yeah. So my final opinion about Super Famicom, the box art collection, is it is an awesome high quality book with beautiful big illustrations. The production value is amazing. Yes, I like this series, and I saw already on the website they have another books in this format, what I will purchase in the future. Maybe I will make a video about that also. Yes, if you guys like what you saw, you can purchase this book, of course, through their website. It's very easy to find with the help of Google. Yeah, and that's it with this video. If you guys like my content, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, I would be happy about that also. See you next time, guys, and don't forget to support your local video game store. Servus!